Tell your children not to walk my way. Tell your children not to hear my words, what they mean, what they say, mother.
Alright, Evolve. It is a first look stroke reveal, Matt. It more than just concept, more than a few screens. We've actually sat down for the last hour and played it. You guys make a conscious effort to go, right, we need people playing this to really show what this is all about.
Yeah, definitely. We were really proud of where we are now, and we thought about the best way to do the game reveal and how we can get it out to you guys and talk about the game. And we thought, well, let's get them in a room and let's get them to play it and have fun with it. And we're showing you a small slice of the game today, but yeah, I thought that was the best way to do it, and I think you're all having fun.
There's a smile on my face, so yeah, I'm young.
Right.
So it's X4 versus 1, Alien World, Hunters versus Alien, or Monster. You guys have sort of said about, you come off Left 4 Dead and you're like, all right, we need to do something else. I mean, was the idea almost fully formed already, or how did the whole concept come about?
So the idea for Evolve actually came from Chris Ashton and the early Turtle Rock team before Left 4 Dead. He had the idea that he wanted to make a 4v1 game. It was always there, but circumstances was that Left 4 Dead came around and made Left 4 Dead. Worked on the the DLC for Left 4 Dead 1, Left 4 Dead 2, and then when we became independent again, we got the chance to make Evolve, and that's kind of how and where the idea came on. It's always been there, and then the chance came about. It's like, let's do it.
Okay, multiple rules, 4 different rules for the Hunters classes. You guys must have been balancing for a long time, because from what I played, yeah, I've still got to play as a trapper. There's no weak rule in the entire thing. I mean, how much iteration have you guys done? Like you said, you're playing it almost every night.
Yeah, you almost answered the question for me there. Every day we balance. So we had the game up and running like on the 4th month of development, and since then we've been balancing playtest, balance, playtest, balance, playtest. It's like a daily thing, and anything can happen. When you're doing that kind of process. It's like we add a new item into the game and see, well, what's going to happen. It's like, we just don't know, and then we put it in. It's like it's a huge advantage one side, and you've got to balance that and work it out and keep play testing. So yeah, that's the process that we've taken up. We just keep play testing balance.
Let's talk Hunters, because there's 4 classes, but there's multiple characters per class. Is it a case of these characters will be gradually unlocked, and they have different type, like weapon types or whatnot for each class?
Yeah, it's kind of that's spot on. So if you played Assault today, and you play a guy called Markov, he has an assault rifle and a lightning gun and some like lightning, what we call arc mines. But if you go through the game and you get another assault character, they're going to have their own kind of set of weapons. They're still going to be dealing damage. That will be their job, damage dealers. But they will have different weapons that they can deal damage with. So kind of our idea is that each hunter that you get is like its own unique package of gameplay.
Okay. And at that, with different weapon types, then is that more just a visual thing, or is there actual maybe a slightly different gameplay mechanic even within, say, the different classes?
Mm-hmm, yeah. There would be slightly different ways to play based on what the weapon is.
Okay. And the monster, almost a set piece of the entire thing. Someone playing that, but again, different monsters. So you're only revealing one today, the Goliath. First glance, you think it's going to be more of a tank, really slow moving, but incredibly agile. Yeah. Was that again a conscious decision for you guys? You had to make the player as the monster feel strong, unique, powerful, yet fast.
Yeah, he's kind of like, though he's physical and brutish, and you kind of, when you first look at him, I see what you're saying there, but he was kind of like more, like a bit like King Kong, right? King Kong's, he got up the Empire State Building pretty quickly, so that kind of thing. That he is agile, like that kind of guerrilla kind of movement, but he's also pretty physical as well. He just picks up giant rocks or huge punches and leap attacks and what have you. So his like abilities and his attacks are kind of based around his physical size, but he's still agile enough to move around the world.
How have you guys went about balancing that to make sure that there's an even playing field, whether you're hunter or whether you're monster?
It goes back to what we were talking about before, really. There's a lot of play tests, a lot of iteration. There's a balance in the actual numbers as well. You know, I think when you're playing a monster, if you notice, as soon as you take out one of the hunters and they're down to 3, it's like, I can see where 3 are. It's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's kind of like more controllable. When you have the 4th in there, it's like 1, 2, 3. Well, where's that one? 1, 2, 3. Where's that one? On the flip side, if you put in a 5th hunter, it's just too much. The monster's just going to struggle to play with that many hunters. So we kind of found that 4 was our sweet spot, like because 4v1 was like where we ended up, just because it's controllable from the monster side, but there's still that slight edge from the hunter's side. So we kind of found that 4 was a magic number.
And sort of flip side of that, you'd sort of played about with 2 monsters rather than 1. Again, was that the same thing? 1 just felt like the right number?
Yeah, exactly the same thing. It just worked out. It was just the better gameplay. Yeah, that's what it worked out for us.
Okay, we're playing 1 level today, but can you touch upon at all what other levels we may see, or in terms of the size, the scale? Are they all going to be those massive sprawling maps?
We're just really showing you the one level today, the one environment that we're talking about. But when we do launch, we are going to have more levels and more environments. But yeah, really today we're just focusing on that 1 level. Yeah.
Well, let's talk character design if we can. There's a lot of beard action going on with the hunters. I just say the hunters now, not the actual monster itself. I mean, it's very unique, and I mean, I guess trying to create a very unique style to both monster and both those sort of characters must be very hard. I mean, what sort of ideas, what sort of inspirations do you guys get to create this sort of sci-fi world?
Actually, well, yeah, that's a good. See, inspiration comes from, I guess, like the Old West, where people were told, if you head out here, this is going to be a better place. You're going to have a better life for you and your family, and that's kind of how we've based the planet. The idea of the planet is that we've gone, come out here. It's going to be fantastic. This outer reach of space that we've only just managed to get to, and of course, when they get there, it's not the case. You know, it's full of like dangerous wildlife, and there's nothing there to build with, so they've had to use their own the things I guess they've arrived in, the ships, to make shelter, to make homes and what have you. And as an example, one of the characters that you play today, the support guy, Hank, he's kind of his damage dealing weapon is what we're calling like a laser cutter, but that actually it's actually like a repurposed mining tool. It was actually designed to like cut through rock, but he's had to make it into a weapon. So that's kind of where the idea for the characters and the inspiration came from. Is kind of like going back to those kind of Old West inspiration.
So the sort of storyline, for want of a better term, would be each levels, there's a monster's dropped down or appeared, and you guys have been sent in to kill it?
We're not talking so much about the story right now. It's kind of, I mean, they're there to do a job, right? And their job is to take down and kill a monster. So.
Now, we're sort of talking just before we actually get hands-on with it, and the idea is that it's either hunter kills monster, monster kills hunters. Monster works to those objectives, which is evolve itself and then try and take the generators. But there's also a 20-minute time. Now, you guys said you sort of trialed it out, and 20 minutes seemed about the right time. Again, was that sort of player feedback from it, that at that point it gets a bit sort of like, okay, we need to sort of bring an end game about?
Yeah, that's kind of why we have that, but we very, very rarely see it. I don't know if you saw it today, so you haven't seen it in one of your sessions, and any of the other sessions that we've been doing these last couple of days, I actually haven't seen it come up. The rounds kind of just tend to gravitate towards like 10 to 15 minute kind of play experiences, and they're intense times, as both sides, like you're hunting, and when you're fighting, you're doing a boss battle, and then sometimes you've got to get away as the monster, and that's intense. So those kind of like that kind of round time works out well, 10 to 15 minutes.
Now, you might say again, you're only talking about this specifically at the moment, but Okay, the concept, the boss fight is actually a good sort of metaphor for what you're doing over the course of that round. That's the core experience there, but is there more built in? I mean, how you elaborate on those particular gameplay elements so it keeps things interesting for the player over the course of weeks, months, etc.?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we've got, again, you know, we're showing you a little bit today. We do have more modes. Yeah. There are going to be more modes when we ship. You know, more monsters, more hunters, more maps and environments. So there's lots more coming. But, you know, like, the core of the game is 4v1, man v monster. You're having a really good experience of what the Evolve core is today.
PC, PS4, Xbox One. Was that always the focus? You dabbled in the idea of maybe doing current gen stuff or whatever we're calling 360 and PS3 these days. Yeah.
Well, we started out on the game on PC, and we had the plan to do current gen then, but we next gen or Xbox One and PS4 was coming online fast. So we started to look at those platforms and what they could do for us and what they could help us realise. How could they realise our goal of Evolve? And there's a couple of key things there. I think one, when you play the game, you'll notice there's kind of a lot of foliage, a lot of assets go into making that jungle. Particularly when you're like a 15-foot or 20-foot monster, we need a lot of those places to hide. You know, and there's that kind of stealth element to the game, and making those kind of like lush environments like that we need that little bit of extra horsepower. And again, the wildlife that you see in the game, they're all AI driven. There's like they each have a route finding, they each have attack patterns that they play, and then if you drop someone drops out of the game, AI can take over that. So that's suddenly we've like thrown a lot of AI into a world, and we just found Xbox One and PS4 really help us realise that, kind of have that amount of wildlife in the game that we really wanted to kind of give it that feeling of a new world, of a new alien world. So yeah, that's where we kind of like decided to focus on those platforms.
Okay. With playing the monster, with playing the hunters, I mean, how is it decided? Is it randomised at the start of a game who's going to be playing what?
We're kind of working on matchmaking right now. It's in development. They're thinking about lots of different ways to do it. So we're not settled yet. Still working on it.
Okay, well that sort of leads into between now and release later this year. I mean, what have you guys got left? I mean, this is a small snippet, but I'm guessing if you're showing hands-on now, there's a lot in the offices that you guys are working on.
I mean, we're finishing the game. We're working hard. We want to release the game this autumn, this fall. With a lot to do, but that's our focus as a team now. Our focus is work on Evolve and finish Evolve.
And sort of finally, talking about it, I mean, how do you guys feel like entering the multiplayer space again? I mean, Left 4 Dead is such a phenomenal game and well respected, well loved. People are still playing it today. Confidence, nervous, pressure over having to sort of almost deliver like the second part?
Confidence high. Still feeling pressure though, you know. It's but I'm getting good reactions from a lot of different places. You know, we put this game through different user groups, different focus tests. We get good reactions. We're putting this game out to you, the press, today, and we're getting good reactions. You know, people are coming in and they're enjoying the game. So my confidence level goes higher, right? As we do more and more of these kind of events and these kind of things. Pressure, yeah, there's pressure because we've got a lot of work to do.
Well, I shall not hold you up any longer. Let you get back to. Thank you very much for talking to us today.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks a lot.